It's only.
I feel like they.
Why you have to be mad?
Sorry, what was that?
Is he Nashville? Am I close geographically?
They've
The
been cooking
contracts.
it up.
The contracts are coming in.
No one knows what he is. He's a big orange monster
What's
with
he?
googly eyes.
He's
and
a gritty.
Okay.
little.
The Florida lead.
What do you think of Owen's bracket? Do you remember it?
It's hopeful.
Okay, folks, welcome back. Episode 18, Bread Loves Hockey Podcast. We've got a brand new guest on today. We're happy to have our friend Chandler join us.
Hey guys, nice to be on.
It's always
Hello,
good to get some
Clarkson
fresh
alum.
blood.
Oh God.
Yes,
Eddie.
fellow Clarkson alum.
I have to sacrifice some blood to talk about the Devils. I'll do so.
Yeah, I'm wearing Devils today because that's Chandler's fandom, which you were just talking a little bit before we started about how you got into rooting for New Jersey. You're not originally from the area, but you're a big fan now.
Yeah, from New York, but one of my good friends from college, he was a big Devils fan. After graduating, we lived together, and I think he watched every single Devils game for like 2 years straight on TV. So just originally started as passing by, just walking through the living room watching some Devils.
Yep.
And then we drafted a magical player called Jack Hughes, and he took over my heart, sucked me into the Devils. Not many wins that first season with him, but
yeah.
it was good watching it. The young crew. It was a lot of hustle, and yeah, started going to games at the Rock, beautiful stadium as we were talking about before. A lot of fun times there, hanging out at Reds on the street, and yeah. And now last season was a miracle. Amazing
Breakthrough.
huge breakthrough. I remember we were at the game. The home opener last year, and we were booing rough. We were saying fire Lindy. Fire Lindy. Yeah, I was literally part of that chant, and then I felt dirty afterwards. But yeah, and then they just turned it right around, pretty much immediately, and yeah, got a nice playoff.
How many times have you been to Prudential at this point?
I think I've been there about 8 times. In the last 2 or 3 years, I went to, again, with my buddy from college, the home openers. Those are fun. You get to see the players walk right by, especially seeing Jack, Luke, Timo time.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool seeing those guys. And then we went to a few of the playoff games last year. So I was at I don't think I went to any of the Rangers ones, but I went to the Carolina one where we scored it was like 7-5, I think. We were just scoring so many goals after getting the crap beat out of us those first few games. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love the Devils. Excited for this season too. Looking good so far. So not as good as I hope.
I was gonna say, did you have higher expectations this year after how well they did last year?
Definitely. For sure had a lot of higher expectations. And I think the offense is living up to those expectations. Not so sure. Our goaltending and maybe defense has been a little lackluster this year, which has been disappointing, but we lost some key guys over the offseason, so.
Yeah,
You think it's more like defense and goaltending that's dragging you down this year?
Yeah, definitely goaltending. Yeah, I think I saw we had the 2 worst statistical goalkeepers for the season right now, or something like that. And even playing against the Rangers over the weekend, you could see the difference in the goalkeeping. And
yeah, the Rangers are a tough comparison when it comes to goaltenders.
I know, 100%. Yeah,
yeah.
They've got probably the best in the world.
Yeah,
one of the best for sure. But.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll get in a groove. Schmid and Vitek It'll start doing good for us. Defense is pretty solid. Dougie's on a tear right now, and Luke's been killing it. So yeah, have you guys seen any Devils games?
I'm trying to think if the Bruins have even played them this year because I basically watch all the Bruins games. So,
Yeah.
but I don't think we've played you guys yet. So
I don't think so.
the answer would be no.
I don't think we played you guys. Yeah.
I haven't seen much from them. I feel like it's tough when, like, if I want to watch a game, like I'll usually just see what's on ESPN Plus. But because of where we live, like the blackouts just make that a lot more difficult. So it's like, yeah, you have to find another way. Ahoy, mateys, if you know what I mean. And, can be a little annoying to do that sometimes, but. Sometimes I'll check out like game recaps, like if it's a close game, like I'll just watch the YouTube highlights and stuff, which are always good. Glad that they do that. But I haven't gone to any live games yet this year, but I feel like another Devils game is in my future pretty soon. 'Cause it seems like that always happens where I'll get like an offer for decent tickets through my work, and I find a way to get down there.
Well, look at that. January 22nd. Devils Golden Knights at the Rock.
Ooh.
At the Rock. I'll have to see on the big screen.
It's been a little bit since I've seen Vegas play in person too, because I didn't see any Vegas games last season.
The last one in Vegas, and they went 0-2 on our trip.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a good record, and well, just watching games in general, as far as who I'm rooting for if I'm going in person, and for Vegas games specifically, I'm 1-4 right now. So if I go with you to that game, there's a good chance the Devils are gonna come out with a big win. So
Well, just wear your Devils jersey. Easy.
No, reverse psychology.
I do love wearing this jersey. This is their original reverse retro, the green. It's a lot more green than it shows up on the screen, but yeah, although I am worried that if I brought it to a game that I get something on it, like I'd spill something on myself or somebody would spill something on me, and it's like
I'm always so worried, like wearing jerseys. Well, I have my jerseys that like I'm scared to like keep perfectly pristine. I have my like Tim Thomas jersey, which I wear like over my like ski coat and stuff. And I'm like, this is my jersey I can beat up a little because it was like a cheaper eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little discounted. Yeah, not like the signed jersey.
Right. I saw the last Bruins game. I saw someone behind the bench wearing a signed Bruins jersey. I'm like, this is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
how would you ever wear a signed jersey, especially to like a game and like out in public? I'm like, I would be so afraid of ruining that.
Unless he just got it signed at that game, but even then, it's
maybe
take it off and like like you just gotta wear your Bruins T-shirt or something underneath.
Yeah.
It's like you don't risk that.
Yeah. Speaking of signed jerseys, my buddy who got me into the Devils, his girlfriend, she is the king of getting signed jerseys. She has gotten, I think, since I've known her, I think she's gotten 8 Devils players' signatures across like maybe 3 games tops.
What's her secret?
Her secret is persistence. I don't know.
Is she attractive?
Oh yeah. But
that's the secret.
Always effective.
But she's just so good at getting their attention and getting in the right spot. Like I remember we were like so far back behind everyone. We're like, there's no way we can get to the players. This is at the home opener when they're walking all the players in. And I swear, I look away for like 5 seconds. I look back, she's gone all the way at the front. She's getting the signatures. I'm like, oh, this is incredible.
Is this happening like by the tunnel when they come on, or what?
Yeah. This is by Into the Rock for the home openers. They'll walk all the players like kind of like a red carpet walk.
Oh, it's just outside. One of those.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
And so they'll have like everyone's like congregated around this red carpet. Everyone's trying to get the signatures and see all the players. And I think you gotta get there really early. I mean, we should have probably half an hour early, and it was already packed.
She
It's
just pushes
already,
to the, she just pushes to the front.
yeah, just is so it's like small enough to find those holes, like a good running back. I don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
just sneaks right in. But yeah, she's got some cool jerseys with all of her signatures, and I think she has this like really cool custom like Devil's jacket with these
Oh,
signatures on. I was like, oh my gosh,
Awesome.
those are so clean.
I've been
But
wanting to get. I'm a Bills fan, and I've been wanting to
yeah.
get a Bills like winter jacket to wear because I'm going to.
Oh.
I'm going to a New Year's Eve game in Buffalo this year, so I'm like, I want to be able to be warm, but still like have something that's like at least has the name Bills or it's at least blue and
Get a
red
winter
or
hat. It's
something.
cheap.
What was that?
Get a winter hat. That's cheap.
Yeah, that's I do have a winter hat, so I guess that could count. But I was looking for something a little bit more festive, I guess.
More expensive.
Yeah, well,
Bougie.
definitely more expensive.
Bougie and warm, yeah. Who are they playing on New Year's?
They're playing New England, so
Oh my gosh. Okay, you
we're
gotta
hoping for a W on that one.
turn up. Yeah. Ooh.
Hopefully, our playoff chances are not at zero at that point.
No way.
It's
My
not
Giants are about there. But did you? How was the? I forgot to ask you. How was the Vegas winning the Stanley Cup for you?
Oh my gosh, what a dream come true! I mean, it was such a magical season. It's
Speaking of
it's
Buffalo boys.
it's very unlike me just in general to have sports luck like that. So to be able to witness that, especially like so young in the franchise's history and
Yeah.
in my history as a human being, like I figured maybe if I see the Bills win, it'll be when I'm like 65 or something. Like, well, you never know what's gonna happen. So very very fortunate, and they just found a way in like a lot of the regular season games where it seemed like they weren't gonna pull it out, and they managed to squeak by, and then they just dominated in the playoffs. So very very
Yeah.
grateful.
Has any other team across any sport had a better kind of like introduction into the respective sport, like within the first 5 years? I can't think of any.
Maybe like way back when. Well, I guess
Right, like the
obviously like the
original.
original six, for example.
Yeah.
There was one team that was probably the best.
Yeah,
But
Yep.
that
right.
kind of doesn't
Yep.
count if it's the start of a league. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I guess it all depends on sort of what metric of success you're going by, but I think, winning a championship, especially in a league that's so big, it's not like, like you mentioned, like an original six or when there's only like 12 teams in a league, to have that win. I know like the Flyers won pretty quickly after they came into the league when it was still pretty young. I think they won it in like 7 seasons or something like that. They won 2 cups and then they haven't won since then. It's been like 50 years. But
Hopefully that's not in Vegas's future.
no. Yeah. Well, if it is,
They
at
found
least
the
I got the
perfect
one.
article to answer our question.
Oh, great.
Golden Knights joined short list of expansion success stories with quick title. So the Milwaukee Bucks in 1971 won the title after 3 years.
Oh.
So their first season was 68. They won in 71. The Diamondbacks won in 2001 after 4 years.
I did know that
The
one.
Baltimore Ravens won in 5 years after joining the league in 1996.
I was
The
with the
Edmonton
Ray
Oilers
Lewis.
won in 5 years after joining in 1979. Gretzky probably helped with that.
Yeah.
And that one was like a merger with the other league too, so it was kind of like not the same situation, but still pretty impressive.
Florida Marlins, 5 years after joining in 1993, and that's the whole list. Well, obviously, and the Golden Knights.
It's a good company.
That's, yeah, you're talking about the Bucks. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar probably played with them. That's pretty good company.
Then known as Lou Alcindor.
I didn't know
Wait,
that.
Kareem's name was not always Kareem?
Apparently not.
Whoa! I didn't know that. Wait, really? Oh my gosh.
That's
It was before he was even
fast.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
The
That's how
man
long
wasn't.
ago.
I wonder if Jack Eichel will look back and be like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna have just a different name." Be like, "What?" He started it.
Oh, that would be. Well, he's always gonna be Jack Eichel to me. I'll tell you that.
True.
I was actually because we're recording this on Tuesdays, a couple days before Thanksgiving, and I was just curious because there's no games on Thursday. Kind of hard to compete with football on that day. I was just wondering how many Americans are even on like my team, and I was and I thought of it beforehand, and I was correct. There's only 3 players, which is I think the least in on any team to have as far as American players, and the 3 are Jack, Alec Martinez, and Paul Cotter, and that's it. And everybody else is either Canadian or Russian, I think.
3 Americans. Wow.
The Bruins have probably more than 3 from Massachusetts.
Yeah, I know. I was wondering if you guys could name or at least think of how many you know off the top of your head for your respective teams. I know there's at least a couple.
Well, I know
on
Grizzlick, Coyle,
uh,
and McAvoy. So Grizzlick
Boston.
and Coyle are both from Massachusetts. McAvoy's from New York.
I didn't know Grizzlick was from Massachusetts.
Yeah, his dad worked in bowl gang at TD Garden for like 50 years or
Whoa.
something crazy. So
Hmm.
like it was a huge story when Grizzlick started playing because his dad worked at that arena. So it was like this big thing. Oh, and then Lori's from Louisiana.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
talked about that.
At least for the Devils, I mean, Jack and Luke, they're from United States. John Marino.
Yep, yep.
Oh, Swayman's from Alaska.
That's all I can think of off the top of my head for the U.S.
Yeah, we got a ton. Beecher's from New York. Patrick Brown's from Michigan. Coyle, like I said, Mass. Trent Fredericks from Missouri.
McAvoy too, right?
McAvoy, yeah, New York. Um, Van Riemsdyk's from New Jersey, Middletown. Carlos from Colorado Springs.
I thought he was
Warboard's
Canadian for
from
some reason.
Minnesota. Yeah, Grizzlies from Charlestown, Mass. I already mentioned Laura and McAvoy. Kevin Shattenkirk's from New York. Yeah, so we have a bunch.
Yeah, a lot more. So I guess it means a lot more for those guys on Thursday to not be playing and be able to be with their families.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's
Well,
a big factor. Probably
and
it's
as we
probably in
talk
the CBA.
as we talk about Thanksgiving, that's the big metric is if you're in, are you in or are you out? Because it's whatever 80% or whatever metric you want to decide, 80% chance that if you're in now, you stay in.
Yeah.
And Chandler's Devils are out currently. You think they're a playoff team?
100%.
100%.
100%. Playoffs, baby.
Who do they kick out? Because right now we have in the Metro we have the Rangers, the Flyers, and the Caps in, and then we have Tampa and Carolina in wild card spots.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Yeah, definitely the Flyers. Get Philly
You
out
don't
of
think the
here.
Flyers can maintain what they've been doing?
No. Nope.
Unlikely, I would say.
I think of those teams you mentioned, I think Flyers drop off. I also think it's likely they drop off.
What about the Capitals?
Capitals too, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like maybe a little bit more like with the veterans and have kind of done it before. Maybe I feel a little bit less likely that they'll drop. Where I feel like Flyers haven't done much last few seasons, but
Yeah, and right now ahead of you on the wild card race is the Penguins and the Red Wings, and the
that's
Penguins and Capitals both I see them being like, they're like bubble teams. The
yeah.
Red Wings I think just got like a hot start. They had like if you look at their like advanced statistics, they were like shooting percentages crazy high and just like they just had
Red
like
Wings
some lucky
really
wins.
good start. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've started to slow down a little.
Yeah, they had a rough go in Sweden for the global series. I don't know if they
3-5
won
and 2 in their
any of
last
the games.
10.
I know they lost. I know they lost to Ottawa, and I want to say they lost to Toronto also, when they were over there. But yeah, they have been they've been pretty good, but I do think that they have been coming down to earth a little bit as far as those underlying numbers. So
Yeah. I also
normalizing
wanted
a
to
little
go
bit.
through the playoff teams currently and see what you guys thought, which
All right.
ones you think won't be in, or like which ones are in now that you think will get kicked out, and if you think a team will get kicked out, what teams will be in their place. Obviously, you just mentioned you think your Devils will be in, which I agree with. We can start with the Atlantic. So you have the Bruins, the Panthers, and the Maple Leafs. I think all those teams are probably
Yeah.
going to be in.
Yeah,
Yep.
The other thing is if you've banked enough points so far, it's going to be tough. Like Vancouver, for example, even if they play terrible the rest of the year, they've like banked enough points where if they play at like a 90-point pace, they're still going to get in. So it's like they have to be really bad to get out at this point.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
no gripes with those three teams.
I don't think so.
I mean, I think all three of those teams have been a really great start so far. Even if you cool down, like you said, I don't think you're getting out. And if they do get out, it's a disappointing season for every single one of them. I think
Right.
playoffs is definitely expectation.
Oh yeah.
All right, we'll hop back to the Metro as I just mentioned. Rangers, Flyers, Caps. You said you think Flyers are going to be out.
Yeah. I don't think
Yes.
Flyers stay.
Rangers probably stay.
Rangers stay. Yeah.
What about
They've
the
been really
Capitals?
good. I'd
That's
I'd
Cap.
I'd probably have Washington and Philly drop.
Me too.
And like obviously, we're having recency bias. Like, yeah, neither of these teams were expected to really compete. Maybe Washington to some degree. I know Sam put them in his bracket just for the home team, but
Nice.
I think it's going to be tough for both of those teams to sustain, especially with Washington. How old they are. Like if they get a couple injuries, it's tough to come back as you get older. So I don't know if they'll be able to sustain it, and I think Flyers are probably playing up a little bit more. I don't know if the chemistry's all there, and maybe they're foreseeing a quicker turnaround, but they'd probably be best to still dig into the rebuild a bit more until some of their young prospects come up. Like obviously we still got time for Michkov and some of their other early round picks. So I'd say probably not enough for them.
Hmm. Yeah, and Tampa right now is the top wild card team, so I would say they're locked for a playoff spot. Especially, I mean, they're hanging in there without their number one goalie. So I think once they get Vasilevsky back, they're in good shape. Even though I feel like their losses weren't even goaltending related, it was more defense. So I don't know, but I think being where they are without Bassey, I think when they get him back, they'll be good. And then Carolina's right behind them. So I think they're the two teams that hop into the playoffs. Then the question is who makes the wild card out of the remaining, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams. So Devils, you think obviously Chandler, and
Oh
then
yeah.
I guess maybe Pittsburgh, Detroit, Islanders, Buffalo are all kind of in the mix. I don't think Sens, Canadians, or Blue Jackets have a chance.
I would say probably not.
I'm gonna say Devils and Detroit as my two wild cards.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not a bad
I
thought.
I know you had Buffalo at the start of the year, making it
Yeah, and
losing
they
hope.
they've just been underwhelming. I think they've had some bad puck luck, and their goalies have not been performing. It didn't help that Levi was out for a little bit there. Um, so I don't really know what to think with them. Tage Thompson was also out for a little bit. I don't know if he might be back now, but yeah, I think I'm gonna need to be convinced with the on ice results before I can really at this stage confirm that they're not confirm, but think they're gonna make it. So I'd probably move Carolina into either second or third in the Met, and then I'd probably have New Jersey in there, and then I don't know if I go with Red Wings, maybe I would go with Pittsburgh. It seems like they've been kind of overperforming a little bit lately,
Yeah.
and they just keep finding ways to win these tight games. Even though I hate the Penguins, they just kind of find ways to get back into the playoffs, even though it's been a long time since they missed. Before last season, obviously.
What's your fifth team? You have Rangers, Lightning, Hurricanes, Penguins,
What?
Devils. Is that your five?
Yeah, Devils I had in there also. So my 2 wild card is Tampa and the one I just said. What?
New Jersey.
No, not New Jersey. The one I just talked about.
Penguins.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh. Oh my gosh.
Do you agree with that five, Chandler, or do you have something different? So Rangers, Lightning, Hurricanes, Penguins, Devils.
a little different. I don't think the Penguins get in.
I agree.
I think Detroit. I think Detroit or Washington. But I mean, Islanders too could make some.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I was tempted to say Islanders. I'm just not sure if they're able
They've just been
to
really
score
rough
enough.
right
They're
now.
6-5, a straight 500 right now.
Yeah.
Points percentage.
They lost like 3 or 4 games in overtime or shootout in a row. Like that's just tough. They got a minus 12 goal differential as well, so it's like they're just not able to close it.
Yeah.
Who's been the most disappointing in the Eastern Conference for you guys? Has it been the Devils? Other teams?
I know Owen would say the Sens.
Oh yeah.
He expected a lot more.
I mean, I think expectations were pretty high for Buffalo.
Yeah.
So, I would probably lean towards them, and even though Columbus was not expected to be a playoff team this year, I think they are still like vastly underperforming. We've had some really bad games from their top guys. Line and Goudreau were benched for a decent portion of the third period in a game pretty recently. And
Line got scratched too.
Yeah, he was a healthy scratch, and he said that was pretty embarrassing. So I don't know if it's like telling on Pascal Vincent, like how he's starting the year, or if it's just the whole team is just not clicking. But I don't think they were expected to be the very bottom of the East, but that's where they are right now.
Yeah. I think I agree with you that Buffalo seems to be they had higher expectations going into this year for sure.
They've never been hungrier coming into a season, like, since maybe a couple of years ago there were some talks like they thought they were going to turn around and then it didn't materialize, but I think coming into this season was the most hopeful that at least fans have been, and I think a lot of the players were saying similar, expressing similar interest.
All right, let's hop over to the West with the Central. We have the Stars, the Avs, and the Jets.
I think I got all those sticking around.
I think they're all playoff teams.
Yeah.
You agree, Chandler?
Get Winnipeg out of here.
Me and you are on the same page.
It's
Get 'em outta
reasonable.
here.
It's reasonable. I didn't have them in my preseason bracket sticking around.
All right, we'll go with the Pacific, and then we'll figure out who to fill in on the
Yeah.
wild card. So Pacific, we have the Knights, who had a great start. Canucks, also a very hot start. And then the Kings, which I think those teams are all playoff teams. And
Agreed.
the top of wild card right now are the Blues and the Kraken.
Kraken are wild.
Hey, they made it to the playoffs. They won a round last year.
It's so awesome.
Pretty big.
Following in their older brother, the Vegas Knights, footsteps.
Yeah, a little bit.
Maybe.
They knocked off the defending champs. That's not anything to be scoffed at, especially in the first ever playoff series. Like, they pushed them to 7 and they freaking beat them. They destroyed them in Game 7. Honestly, like, they were dominating play. So I don't know if it's really been that same Seattle team that it was last year. It seems like they've struggled a lot early. So I'm gonna have them dropping out at this
They also
stage.
shot like 12% all year last year or something crazy.
That's not great. I mean, you know who's right there are those Arizona Coyotes.
Yes, sir.
I gotta do it. I mean, they have the same record or same points total as Anaheim, so they're both 1 point out of the spot right now. I could honestly see either one of those teams pushing in. Calgary's knocking on the door too, but they've kind of been unstable. I'll say is a nice way to put it. So I'd probably have Seattle dropping out and one of Anaheim and Arizona dropping in.
What do you guys think about Edmonton's chances? Too
Not
late?
great.
I can't bet against them. I don't think I agree. It's not great. If you told me to, put money on them not making it, I couldn't do it.
I agree. I think they get back in, get a wild card
Yeah.
spot.
I could see the Blues falling out. I don't think
Me
a
too.
lot of people had them before the season started coming back, and I think there's too many question marks there. So I could see a situation where Edmonton gets first or second wild card spot, and one of Anaheim or Arizona takes the second spot.
What about Arizona climbing over Winnipeg in the Central?
Anything could happen.
All I'll say is that I would love to see some playoff hockey in Mullet Arena. Think about how absolutely electric it would be in there.
That would be crazy.
The 3,500 fans like rocking that place wild.
That would be pretty sweet.
Clayton Keller like finally gets a bit of a taste. Besides, well, he did play in the bubble, I guess. They did win a round, but like to get some actual like regular format playoff hockey would go a long way. So I don't know if I would be able to swing actually going to the game live because that sounds very expensive. But if I could, I would do everything in my power to make that happen.
Yeah.
So let's
I
start the fund.
The
I had,
fundraiser to the Coyotes game. I'm here for
I had
it.
Calgary in my preseason bracket making the playoffs, but now I have doubts. I guess if I were to have the West, or how I would predict it is Stars and Avs stay, Jets are out, Knights, Canucks, Kings all stay, and then one more to fill in plus a 2 wild card. I'd probably have Kraken still, and then Edmonton I'd put in there, and then I don't know who I'd put for my last wild card.
I mean, yeah, it could be Nashville,
Anaheim.
could be Minnesota, could be Arizona.
Yeah, for me, I have Wild in.
Hmm.
I'm actually outside of Edmonton. I think Minnesota's been a little bit disappointing for me out of
I
the
think I
West.
had them in my preseason bracket too, but
Yeah.
yeah, tough start for them.
It's tough when you've got so much of your salary cap going to the dead money. I know we sort of talked about it the off season a little bit, but yeah, it's just tough to compete with the teams who have players that are making all of the money rather than, what is it, 14 million? So it's like not quite 20%, but nearly 20% of your
I'll put it this way: that's more than the highest paid player in the league.
yeah.
So
So not a great situation that they're in, but they've found ways to make it into the playoffs the past couple of years with already that money on the books. So it's hard to really count them out. I am though. I am gonna at least as far as right now. We'll see how I feel. Maybe come New Year's, how they're looking.
that's all I had for this little prediction of Thanksgiving time whatever you want to call it, playoff teams.
Yep. And
So
speaking
who
of, I'll let you go, Chandler.
who's getting the gravy? Who's the gravy player so far for you guys?
Well, it's hard to argue with being basically three Canucks right now. Like they continue to find ways to all score together. Like they've been tied. The three being Quinn Hughes, who's at 30 points, Elias Pettersson, and JT Miller. Like they have just all three of them have just been clicking. And I said I think maybe 2 episodes ago that I kind of was not sold on Vancouver yet, but it's hard for me to say that at this point with how well they continue to play. So, yeah, I think they're for real.
I'm going to go with my biased answer. You mentioned Hughes and Miller, but they're first and third in the league for points. You know who's right in between them? David Pastrnak. Quinn Hughes has 30 points, Pasta has 29, and JT Miller has 29. And the Canucks have played 19 games, Bruins have played 17. So points per game, I think Pasta's at the top.
He is an electric player. He's absolutely must-watch hockey.
And he gave up an empty net goal to give it to Coyle the other night.
Yeah, he did for the hat trick.
Which, I mean, it's still a point, but...
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
12 goals in
points.
17 games for Pasta. Yeah, let's see. Oh, actually, Jack Hughes, points per games played. He has 2 because he's only played 11 games.
Yeah, he was
He
out.
has 22 points. Yeah, he had that shoulder injury. The Pasta's second in the league. Panarin's third. And Makar is fourth. Crazy for a defender. I guess Hughes isn't too far behind him either, so.
Yeah.
And then after you get past Makar and Hughes, you don't see another defender for until the 29th person.
Yeah, so pretty rare for the level that those two young D-men have been playing at.
To say Quinn Hughes and Makar is playing at the same level as Makar is probably more than people have expected from him.
Yeah. What about you, Chandler? Who's your gravy boat? Did I use that
Gravy boat.
Did I use that
Definitely
right?
Jack Hughes. I love it. Stick him in the gravy. I'll take some Dougie Hamilton stuffing with it.
Yeah.
Man's on pace for 30 points this season. So, yeah. But in all seriousness, unfortunately, our friends across in the New York Rangers, they've got some good playing right now from their goalkeeper and Panarin, who totally just disappeared during that playoff series against the Devils.
Yeah, that was a big storyline.
He's been just phenomenal. And I was watching the game Saturday against the Rangers, and he was on fire.
All he had to do was cut his hair.
Yeah, slowing him down, I guess.
I know his wife was like pleading him to grow it back too, and I bet she's probably changed her tune a little bit now.
Yeah.
She's gonna keep rocking. So yeah, I guess gravy. I'd give it to. If I had to be unbiased, I'd give it to probably Panarin. I think he's doing a lot for those Rangers right now, in their good streak.
They've definitely been silencing some of the naysayers after the playoff loss last year. A lot of people were kind of thinking that they were more pretenders, but they're back, and they're back in a big way. As far as other players, Nylander has been on a tear as well for Toronto. I think he's still got an active point streak from the start of the season, which is pretty incredible. And in Sweden, which is where he's from, he scored the overtime winner for their last game there for the Global Series in front of like all his family. His dad was like in the crowd, and he was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like,
oh my gosh,
no way, my son really just did that." Like, it's a pretty special moment for Will and his family. And pretty impressive year, especially being that it's a contract year. So I'm sure Brad Treliving, was really trying to get that extension signed in the off season. Like, please don't play any games because, oh my gosh, he's gonna be making so much more money now. It's gonna
Especially when you
be
compare it to other
tough.
contracts on the team.
Yeah,
You should be able to ask for a good amount of money. And he seems like the kind of player that just like is good in like a big Canadian market and like is good with the media and doesn't like he handles the pressure well. So I feel like that kind of earns some merit as well.
yeah, yeah. If they don't find a way to keep him, it's gonna be a massive loss. I don't think that's gonna be the case, but it'll all hinge on what. Like, I don't think at this point he's gonna sign an extension during the season. With the way he's been playing, like, he's gonna try to make as much money as he can. So it'll probably hinge on, playoff performance, not just for him but for the team. And then it might be a, situation where if they didn't, achieve their ultimate goal this year, they'll probably have to reevaluate and see if maybe one of the other core four guys has to move in order to keep Nylander around, which might be the best move for him.
Matthews gets traded and I win $10 from Brendan.
Could be. I would be skeptical to say that would happen this season, this off season, but I can't
After
rule
signing the
it.
big contract, like, yeah, see ya.
Yeah, thanks, Arizona. Here you go.
That would be a wild
Go back
story.
home.
And then if he won a cup in Arizona, like, imagine how furious Toronto fans.
I'd love it.
I mean, it would be amazing, especially if they literally won it in Mullet Arena. Like,
Oh yes.
Well, they're moving arenas. Like they only have Mullet Arena for another year or two, right?
it's like, I think it's like 3 years or something like
Okay,
that.
longer than I
I
thought.
can't remember, but we should know
I
more
know-
about their arena situation, like, come the first or around January this year or next year. I think is when the president of the Coyotes has sort of set as a timetable for when we'll know more about their future in Arizona, which I've been rooting for them to stay the whole time. I would hope that a lot of other fans are, but I'm sure there's some Canadian fans, especially Quebec City fans specifically, who are like hoping that things don't work out, and that they find a way back. But
I know they held
We'll see.
some vote for like a new arena in Arizona at one point, like not too long ago, but I forget. Like I think some of it got denied about building a new arena with who's ever money, but
yeah, it was the Mesa vote. There was like a whole referendum, and there was a lot of misinformation by like another group who was trying to not have the team come, and they were spreading rumors about where the money was going, because it was
Whoa.
partially publicly funded, not all of it, and they were just sort of destroying the campaign, and the Coyotes didn't pay enough to sort of fight back, so they lost that opportunity. Or sorry, it wasn't in Mesa, it was in Tempe. So the group was Tempe first. I think they're looking at Mesa now, maybe, and maybe a couple other locations. So we'll get more information soon, hopefully. But enough about the Coyotes, which I'm sure some people are like, so Vegas is really your first team? Yeah, you sure seem to know a lot about the Coyotes.
yeah.
That logo is sick.
I love the Kachina, and I have the reverse retros that they used past couple of years, which I love that logo too, and they've just done a really good job with their rebranding. Although the word mark maroon jersey. I'm still not super enamored with, but I think it does look better on ice than in person. So they got that going for them.
Speaking of jerseys, I think my Devils are hosting the Stadium Series this year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys own any Stadium Series jerseys?
Brendan probably does.
I do own a couple. I have the Caps and the Carolina ones from last year. I
Those are sick.
I think those are the only ones that I have. Trying to think of any other teams that I follow that have played in Stadium Series games, and I don't think I have any other ones, but I will be interested to see because there's going to be 4 different teams playing because there's 2 different days, Devils and Rangers and Islanders and Flyers. So that's 4 new jerseys, and hopefully at least 1 or 2 of them don't disappoint. I'm not expecting much from the Islanders just based on how historically they're not very creative when it comes to some of their stuff. So hopefully I'm proven wrong on that one. Do you have any jerseys, Chandler? Clearly I have a few.
Yeah, those are nice. I have a New Jersey Devils PK Subban jersey.
Nice. I'm wearing a Subban today as well.
Well, let's go, baby.
This one's a Subanator.
I'm wearing my Subban one right now.
Nice.
Love him. And he's a huge voice for the Devils too when he's on I think ESPN. He's always doing
TNT.
He's a
TNT now.
He's with
Okay.
Biz and that crew. And
Yeah.
what's the other guy's name?
He's with Messier and
The guy's name that always asks all the questions on NBC.
Steve Levy.
No, the guy he was on NBC. He was with
Chris Chelios.
No, he was with Keith Yandel and what's his name? I think his last name starts with an M. Maybe.
I'm thinking it's Messier again. I think you lost me.
Liam McHugh.
Oh, Liam McHugh. Yeah. He was not a former player.
Like I said, he was the one that asked all the questions on NBC. He was the question guy.
The question guy.
He drove the conversation.
Oh, love it.
He's pretty good.
But I gotta get that the Subanator that he was wearing. I don't know if you guys saw him with that like robe he had on during the playoffs.
Oh, I think I did see that.
Oh yeah, I gotta get one of those though. That'll be my next Devil's gear probably.
That'd be sweet. Yeah, they've had some pretty good jerseys. This is I've said before that this is arguably my favorite jersey I have in my collection. I actually have never worn it until today. I still have the tags on it.
Whoa!
I was like,
very special.
I'm like, am I even gonna take the tags off? Like, it's it would probably be worth a lot if I ever wanted to sell it. But I'm like, I'll never sell this. Like, if I really needed money, I would sell some of the other less exciting jerseys in my collection. So. Took the tags off, and I feel great wearing it, honestly.
Oh my god, you look great with it. Oh,
Well, thank you.
I love it.
Green is my color. I know a lot of people are like, Christmas colors, but I just think it works really, really well.
It's clean.
And
it's gabagool of the jerseys, baby.
Yeah, Italiano. Let's just go quickly over the some of the goalie news. So we talked about how Halak was going to be he signed a PTO with Carolina because Freddie Anderson's done for the season. So they've been rocking with Ranta and Kochetkov. But Halak has been released from the PTO. So I mean he's like 41 or 42. So it's not all that surprising. And they've expressed interest in Kochetkov. They think they signed him to extension either last summer or maybe 2 summers ago. So they definitely had some belief in him. And so it's kind of these guys' time to show up. And then on the other side of the spectrum, the Edmonton goalie woes continue. Pickard finally gets his first start with Edmonton. It was probably his first NHL game in like maybe 4 or 5 years. And he didn't win that one. And then Jack Campbell has just continued to struggle in the AHL. So there's been rumors of Edmonton being interested in maybe one of the Montreal goalies because they've been carrying 3 goalies this year: Allen, Primo, and Montembeault. So I could see maybe one of Primo or Montembeault going. Probably Montembeault if I had to fair a guess, just because Primo's been in their system for a long, long time.
That's
And
what I heard as well.
it would kind of
Especially they
be a
like
shame to
not,
lose him.
and they said like not Allen probably. It's like one of the
Yeah, I would say probably not Allen
Montembeault
as
probably,
well.
like you said, the leading goaltender on their list.
So we'll see if that heats up. Now is probably a good time to buy before you get too close to the deadline, and you kind of have to make a move now if you continue to lose. Like I mentioned, they just lost last night to Florida, so it's kind of getting to the put up or shut up sort of time, as we mentioned, being this close to Thanksgiving. So hopefully they address some of their issues and they find ways to start winning some hockey games, especially for McDavid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think the Devils?
Go
Do you
ahead.
think the Devils make a trade for goalie?
Be the one to tell us if they need to.
Oh, they need to.
I haven't really seen
At
like
least for the short
their
term.
underlying numbers yet. Schmid's pretty young, right?
Yeah, Schmid's
Or
very,
Schmid.
very young. Akira. Yeah, and I mean, both him and VTech, I think, will be fine during the season. But I know, at least from what I've read and just the games I've watched, I know the goaltending's been a big topic of concern for the team. But
Yeah,
I personally do not think they'll make a move.
I would probably say not. Also, just because with how well they did last year with that tandem, and I think maybe they had one other goalie that played a little bit last year for them too. They don't want to mess with it too much, even though they've had sort of been or sort of had a rocky start. So I'd say they probably won't do something. Whether or not that's the right move, I guess time will tell. But I know both these guys have at least played. Like they both played in the playoffs already, which is big. But yeah, they got to get there first.
Yeah, I just looked it up. The Devils' save percentage in all situations is an 875. That is not what you want to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Less than
Who's
ideal.
what's the worst?
Out of
Probably
all the
San
teams,
Jose if I had to take a
Yeah.
guess.
let's see. If I just look at save
Probably.
percentage, I'm just looking in the. I think this is just the. No, this is head to head. I don't even know how to find. I'm on natural stat trick, but let me see if I all teams. Here we go. Maybe.
Possibly.
I don't know. I don't use this website a ton. This is my website for my fans, just to impress all my hockey friends.
Impress all of our hockey viewers right now, Dean.
Yeah, but I did all teams and hit submit and it's blank, so I don't know what to tell you.
Maybe we'll find it in post. Either way, 875, not where you want to be at for a contending team. So, maybe it's just an early season slump, and I don't know if they've had any, big injuries on the blue line. I haven't heard anything, but that could be a
I
factor.
found it. They are 30th for save percentage. The Devils.
Oh man.
The only behind them actually is Tampa and Colorado. surprisingly.
Oh,
Wow, no San Jose. I'm a little surprised by that.
Well, because actually their goaltending has been pretty good. The Sharks are 23rd. They've actually gotten 905.
hmm.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive, honestly. I do know Colorado has like definitely been shelled in a couple games this year. They let in 7 to Vegas. They let in 8 to St. Louis. They've had a couple other pretty miserable games. They actually just lost last night. They played the Predators in Nashville. They had the 3-2 lead. Predators tied it up with like 40 something seconds left in the period, and then they took the lead with like 19 seconds left. So they immediately went from really good chance at getting 2 points to getting 0. That's a big goaltender factor. I think the plays weren't necessarily the goalie's fault. I don't remember if it was Georgiev or Prosvetov that was in net, but either way, that's a big factor. And yeah, you gotta get those guaranteed points more or less. You gotta close.
Yep. I'll use this opportunity to mention that the Bruins have the highest save percentage in the league at 944.
Gosh, that's another worldly
Incredible.
number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only the second highest PDO though, behind Vancouver.
Sounds like a 2011 finals rematch.
As long as we win.
That would be devastating for Vancouver fans.
Elliot Friedman recently said that was his favorite Stanley Cup final that he ever covered.
Oh, really?
It was a good one. Lots of drama too, just like between games and like between the players.
That was
the
the
riot.
That was the one with the rumor of the Canucks players practicing lifting the cup on the ice before the Game 7.
Yeah.
Which
I don't even know if it was a rumor because I think Chara talked about that in an interview.
I wasn't sure if that was
I don't know, it might
like
be a rumor,
unconfirmed
but-
or what. But yeah, there was a lot going on in that one as far as I can tell from somebody who wasn't watching at that time.
Yeah. And Luongo was talking about how like the other goaltender, Tim Thomas, they should like pump each other's tires, and Tim Thomas is like, I'm not doing that. Yeah, plenty of things. Oh, and then the Nathan Horton, he was concussed, so he didn't play. But the Bruins had been winning most of their games on home ice, so he brought melted ice from TD Garden and brought it to Vancouver and poured it on the ice before Game 7, and like all these cool narratives.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's some fun
That's
stuff.
spicy, man.
Yeah, it was good.
Definitely more intriguing for the general viewer than like last year's final. Like, I don't think
Two smaller market teams.
yeah, most fans were not that interested, especially with how it played out. Like probably after Game 3 or Game 2, a lot of people were pretty much checked out at that point.
I mean,
like,
Game 7 was a blowout.
or Game 5.
The 5 or whatever, the last game.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I think, especially with people not liking Vegas, just in general, it probably wasn't very intriguing. I think a lot of people were not happy with it. Obviously, I was happy, and I really like Florida too, especially having the chance for a brand new cup winner. I'm always sort of into that because I think it's just more interesting if the other fan bases get a chance, even if they don't win. So Florida's been to two cup finals now, which is pretty good. They're only been in the league for, well, getting there, close to, I think it's 30 years or.
Yeah, I was gonna say 1990 was
They
my
came
guess.
into
Well,
the
that's when the
league in-
Sharks.
I think it was their third season that they went to the final in 96. So I want to say 92, 93 or 93, 94. So yeah, pretty good considering how tough it is to get there.
Yeah. I know for me, it was the Panthers had such a great story for that whole playoffs runs, beating Boston, and then eventually being in, Carolina. 2 to get to the cup, and then I just remember watching those first 2 games, and I just total felt like blowouts, and I was just distraught for the Panthers. And then
wasn't looking good.
yeah, and then I think they won game 3 too, and I feel like it was in overtime or
Yeah, they did.
it was
They
like a
did win
1-goal
game
game.
3 in OT.
And then I was like, oh, home ice, maybe they can turn it around and just yeah, like you guys said that game 5 it's I don't know. Did Vegas score like 10 goals that
Like a
game? I don't know.
touchdown.
It was 9-3.
9? Oh wow.
Wow.
And I was like, oh jeez. It was just I felt like the Panthers deserved a little better ending to their great run. If it wasn't a cup, if at least it was a little bit more close, competitive, I think,
Yeah.
would have been fun.
I don't think I ever asked you this, Brendan. If the Bruins had been there instead of the Panthers, do you think the Bruins would have won? You think they would have won more than 5 games or made it to past game 5?
Certainly would have been interesting with Bruce Cassidy coaching Vegas, like playing his former team who fired him in the finals would have been pretty awesome. I think they probably could have put up a bigger fight. They kind of just got in their own way in that first round series. So I think if they were able to avoid that and make it through, they would have been pretty solid as far as a competitor goes. I think Vegas was kind of, I don't want to say destined to win that year, but it just felt like all the pieces were finally clicking for them. So I don't know if I would have them winning, but it would have been probably a better series overall. Which is, too bad for general fans and obviously Bruins fans, but that's the sport, and you could kind of just have to say next year's the year, and here we go, start the cycle all over again.
Here is the year.
Yeah. Exactly. You get it. You got it.
The Devils, Bruins, and Knights year.
It's all of our year, guys. We got it.
We're all winning.
The first 3-team final.
The 3-team final.
Well, maybe not a 3-team final, but what about a 3-person face-off?
So
you
I
had
threw,
that on here, and
I
I have no clue what
Whoa.
it is in
What's
reference
that?
to.
I threw that in there because we played this game once so far. We usually try to wrap
It's
up
a
the
game.
Yeah, it's a game, so
I
maybe
thought it was
I'll
something else.
I'll wrap
so
it
much
up.
for my segue.
Yeah, I can bring it in later, but I was thinking about doing something like that, where maybe it wouldn't be easy to verify the answers if all 3 of us are playing, but it would be kind of fun to do something like that. So we'll circle back.
Okay, we'll see. I mean, we still have so much to cover, but we'll see what time it is
Yeah.
for you East Coasters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Dean's out in Colorado, so he has the benefit of a couple extra hours on us.
Colorado, nice.
Mm-hmm. Also, I get home and well, time to start podcasting.
Oh
right
yeah,
after
no
work.
time.
That's why it's 5:30. I get home at 5. So I'm I gotta eat something real quick and then hop on.
Yeah. Settle in a little bit.
All right, I'll let someone else segue then. Or Chandler, you're on the Google Doc. You can pick something you want to talk about.
Yeah. What happened to Lucic?
Going there.
yeah.
What happened to Lucic, man?
I don't know.
I did not hear about this.
So he got, I guess arrested is the right term.
Yeah.
He got arrested for domestic assault. And apparently he came home one night drunk and was looking for his phone, and he thought his wife had it or something, and his wife said that he choked her. And then today they had the hearing, and he pled not guilty and was released on bail. And right now the Bruins have not suspended him, but just basically, I forget what the term is, but aren't playing him indefinitely. He's just
Indefinite
not
leave
gonna
of
be-
absence.
indefinite leave. Yeah.
And I did see, but just briefly before the we started recording that he has been entered into the players assistance program.
That's good.
So that's good that he's taking steps. It sounds like there might be sort of an issue with alcoholism, and obviously being drinking doesn't excuse domestic violence. I think his wife had said that he didn't choke her, but he did like grab her hair and like sort of threaten her.
Mm.
She did have some like redness on her chest too, so obviously want the best for the rest of the Lucic family, and hopefully this is not a path that he's going down. I don't know if
She
he'll be
said
able
she
to
didn't
play
want to
again.
press charges either, but
Hmm.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of it. But for now, we just wait and see what the news brings, I guess.
Yeah, and he had some performance bonuses too that he wasn't able to meet, so he lost out on like $500,000
Mm-hmm.
if he was able to come back from his foot injury. So yeah, just I think I saw like maybe 10 years ago he had a similar incident with drinking, and like he had some other I don't think there were ever charges filed, but I think there was something else that had happened. I'd have to look and see what it was. I think it was maybe in some other sort of verbal abuse or threatening. So not good to have that type of history. But
Not good at all. Yeah. I'm glad they, Boston's suspended him for a little bit till whatever, but happens. Let it take its course. But yeah, like you guys said, hope he's finds some peace with that, and he's okay. And same with was it his wife? You said.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
She's
I guess his
she's
kids
good.
were having like a sleepover that night too, like at their apartment.
Wow.
So there were like other kids there and stuff. So yeah, it's never good to get the kids involved in something like that. You don't want to be
No.
scared of your dad or your friend's dad
Yeah.
or anything like that. So it's a tough situation, and I'm sure it happens more than we might know, which obviously
Scary
not
but
something that
true.
I'd like to think about, but
Yeah.
that's just a problem with being a superstar athlete, and he kind of takes some stuff for granted, and I don't know. I don't want to speculate on if he's got an alcohol problem or if he's got a prior history or whatever, but it's just tough, and glad he's at least accepted it, and he's going to the assistance program, and we'll keep an eye on it from there.
If he does have an alcohol problem, I feel like Jim Montgomery would be a great resource because he was an alcoholic and has recovered.
Yeah, that's true.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that was a big success story, and I know a lot of people were really encouraged when he was able to, when he was hired as the head coach for Boston. I think a lot of people were really encouraged by that. So good to know there's some success stories out there too.
Yeah.
And I'll just also mention while we're talking about, I guess it's like a little political sidebar, talking about the potential NHL, or not NHL, the like World Cup of hockey sort of deal. That's not
They're
what
not going to call it that.
yeah, they're not calling it that. What was it that they were calling it? Do you remember?
I think for now they said international tournament. I don't know if
International
they
tournament.
gave
Okay,
it a
yeah.
name.
Ooh.
So yeah, that's the current plan is to not have the Russian players, and not like every nationality be represented. I think they were talking either 4 or 6 teams. I think you got 4 teams listed.
Yeah, I think. Well, they mentioned when they talked about this in Sweden. I forget. I think Bill Daly had an announcement or something. 'Cause they were deciding between it, but I think they're leaning towards 4 teams, which would be Canada, the U.S., Finland, and Sweden. Obviously, that leaves out a lot of people like Draisaitl from Germany wouldn't
Yeah.
play,
Yeah.
Yossi in Switzerland. So like, but I don't think they wanted to do the same thing as the last World Cup of hockey with like Team North America or like the European team or whatever they had. So I think this is more just to kind of like get back into it. It just has like a start and kind of like draw up some publicity again and like go from there. So it's just like kind of a reset just to get back into it. But and then in the future kind of go back to having more teams. But again, like they thought maybe they try to weigh it out and maybe see if with Russia they could have that as a team, but clearly at this point in time that doesn't really seem like an option. So
No.
I think they're just going with these 4 teams.
Yeah,
Again,
it's
that's
Which
they planned for February 2025, so it's still time to sort all of this out.
yeah.
which country do you guys think is most poised to win out of those 4?
U.S. is looking really good. Not to be biased or anything, but
I think we talked about it before. Yeah, I mean they really do look like they could be a force to be reckoned with any other team. Canada has obviously been very very strong historically, but I do think like USA's got good people in each position. You know, going all the way down the 4 lines, 3D pair and a solid goalie tandem too. So they're in my mind the team to beat right now.
yeah, I found the thing we talked about on the previous pods. This would be the projected Team USA roster in 2025. You'd have Kachuk, Matthew Kachuk, Austin Matthews, Brady Kachuk, Jason Robertson, Jack Hughes, Alex DeBrincat, Kyle Connor, Jack Eichel, Clayton Keller, Jake Gensel, Tage Thompson, Cole Caulfield. And then on D, Quinn Hughes, Adam Fox, Jacob Slavin, Charlie McAvoy, Zach Wierenski, John Carlson. And then in net, you'd have Hellebuck, Ottinger, Swayman. Pretty good team.
Hot damn.
Yeah.
Just think about how much money all those players are making.
Probably over the cap.
Probably a little bit over. Yeah.
Do you wish the cap was changed? Speaking of the cap in hockey,
I mean, I love a
it's so
higher
hard.
cap. Everyone would, but I guess it's more complicated than that, obviously.
Yeah.
But even, I mean, they added the cap for a reason. Like before that, the bigger market teams would just have a benefit of being able to pay their players more, so it wasn't really fair.
Yeah.
I really like hockey's cap. I think it makes it a little more chess-like of like you really have to be 100% on some of the guys you're doing and putting all this money on them and yeah.
Yeah, you don't. I feel like with like the NFL, you can bail yourself out a little bit better with like restructuring contracts. Like it seems like these teams that are sort of been, you know, in playoff positions for a long time, they continue to just, you know, restructure contracts in order to bring in more guys, and it kind of just makes it a bit tough for some of the other teams to catch up. Like it is something to say. You know, my team's management group in the NHL has been able to really foresee the future with their core, like sign these young guys early and lock them up. Yeah, with what the Devils were doing before they got back into the playoffs. You know, it was kind of a slow burn for a while, and they were slowly bringing in all these young prospects. They, of course, benefited from back-to-back lottery wins, but that doesn't guarantee playoff success or making the playoffs. So they were able to make the right moves, and now they look great.
Thank you, Gary, for those back-to-back wins in the lottery.
You want to hear the Canada projected roster for comparison to USA for 2025?
Yeah.
We got Zach Hyman, Connor McDavid, Mitch Marner, Steven Stamkos, who at that point will be like 38, 39, Nathan McKinnon, Braden Point, Brad Marchand, Sidney Crosby, Connor Bedard, Jonathan Huberdeau, Dylan Cousins, Mark Stone. And then on defense, you got Josh Morrissey, Cale Makar, Owen Power, Alex Petrangelo, who also pretty old, Morgan Riley, Dougie Hamilton. And then the goalies is tough. You got Stuart Skinner, Darcy Kemper, Devin Levi.
Yeah, Canada has not been producing good goalies like over the last 4 or 5 years. I could see maybe Logan Thompson being in the mix there. Like I don't think at this stage Stuart Skinner should be your number one guy.
This was in August. This was written before the season started in
Yeah,
August.
yeah. I think Kemper could be decent. Maybe Levi too, but yeah, gonna be tough to really argue that Canada has the edge, at least goaltender wise. But
Yeah.
still a lot of really good
All
players.
three of the U.S. goalies are better than any of the
Yeah,
Canada ones.
I think that's pretty safe to say. And I'm sure Sweden and Finland could also roster some pretty solid teams. I don't think maybe like Finland. I don't know who their best goaltender would be. I'm not really that familiar with the Finnish goalies, because is Saros Finnish, or is he Swedish?
Saros is Finnish.
Okay, he is. So that's
So
a
is
that's a big
Tuukka
help.
Rask. He can come out of retirement.
There you go. Sure, why not? Yeah, so maybe it would be the forward and D depth that would sort of be tested for Finland, because I don't think
I
they
found
have as
the
much.
2022 Team Finland men's Olympic roster fan vote.
Hmm.
You got Barkov, Sebastian Aho, Patrick Laine, Mikko Rantanen, Teuvo Teravainen, Rupe Hintz, Mikhail Granlund, Kasperi Kapanen, Jonas Donskoi, Joel Armia, Capo Caco, Jesse Poyarvi, Kasperi Kokanemi, and Eric Haula.
Yeah. See, it's already
Then-
like the bottom six already there is definitely not on par with either a U.S. or Canada, which.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they wouldn't be a strong team. Just at least on paper, they're not at that same.
Also, I listed
compete level.
14 forwards, and you only have 12. So like, Kokanemi and Haula are out.
I'd probably say
next lineup.
Puljujarvi wouldn't be in at this point either. Like, he's not
Yeah.
even playing in the league right now. He doesn't have a contract.
Yeah, and then as far as defense goes, I feel like the top three are good with Heiskanen, Lindell, and Ristolainen, and then you have Jokiharju, Oli Mata, and Vatanen, and then I don't even know the seventh and eighth defenders.
Yeah, I think even Ristolainen is kind of a stretch. Like he had a pretty awful season last year. I don't know how he's been doing this year, but yeah, not at the same level. And then I think Germany could put up a decent team. Maybe not at the same level as some of these other guys. I don't know if there's a ton of great German goalies. Maybe I think Hellberg might be German, but yeah, not what you want.
All right. Well, while we're here, we might as well mention the last team, Sweden. This is the post from a year ago of a Swedish Olympic team. It has Philip Forsberg, Elias Pettersson, Nylander, Bratt, Zibanejad, Victor Arvidsson, Kempe, Lindholm, Lucas Raymond, Burakovsky, Eriksson Ek, Raquel, and then defense is Carlson, Hedman, Dahlin, Klingberg, Hampus Lindholm, OEL, and then Markstrom and Olmark in net. And then someone commented that Landeskog was omitted, but now, I don't know. 2025, I don't know. Rasmus Anderson also didn't make the cut.
That's not a bad team, really.
Yeah. I'd probably say they could be a second place team.
Yeah. I could see it being like a USA
Between them and
Sweden
Canada,
final.
and then Finland would probably be last.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of talk for a tournament that may or may not happen
Yeah.
in a couple of years.
I would like to see some sort of. I think a lot of fans have been wanting that for a long time, to see some sort of best on best.
It'll have been like 10 years at that point since the
Yeah.
World Cup of Hockey almost.
So hopefully something happens, even if it's not, what everybody sort of wants, as far as all of these different nationalities being represented. But at least it's a start, and most of these players will be able to say that they've played in one of these tournaments, because a lot of these guys have gone most of their careers, even if they're veteran guys, that they haven't been able to play. So that'd be good.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great to have for hockey. Yeah, nice little world competition.
When did you get into hockey, Chandler? You said after college. You never really watched like Olympic hockey.
Yeah, it was like during college, I'd say, like maybe junior senior year, so a couple years ago, or almost 5 years now. But yeah, playing Chell. We used to play Chell a lot. Used to do a fun drinking game. We call it Chell for shots. Nah, I don't think I could do that anymore. But in college, it wasn't so hard.
Yeah.
And that got me into it. And then went from there. But yeah, I never really got to watch much world hockey or haven't really watched much. I know like when I think of world hockey, like Miracle on Ice is like the first thing that comes to mind, and that kind of atmosphere and that intensity behind it, and or I'll think of like FIFA, the like World Cup, how everyone like rallies behind, like US when they're in or other countries and stuff like that. I think it would be fun, at least for me as a fan that hasn't seen much, to see some sort of cool tournament. I'd like to see more teams than four, I think, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, same. I
But
mean, I'd like to see the Olympics back and see all the countries.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
think
So
I think ultimately that's the goal for a lot of fans, is finally see these Olympic Games mean a lot more by having
yes.
the best players in the world actually able to be there. I think the last go around it was just unsigned free agents that were able to play, and some of the best prospects from these other teams. So not nearly as interesting, but
And Yager,
so something. Yeah,
like
Yager.
Fucking Yager.
retired guys, whatever.
he's he's still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Chandler, did you see
Yeah.
the Frozen Frenzy that they did a little while ago?
No. What was that?
So we talked a little bit about it previously. It was they basically did an NFL red zone sort of situation, but with the NHL, where they had all 16 teams were playing. It was on a Tuesday, about a month ago at this point. And yeah, they basically bounced back and forth between games and showed you power plays and goals and big saves and stuff for about like 7 or 8 hours on one
Oh
night.
my.
So it was received pretty well, and I'm mentioning it because they have talked about doing it again this year. I think that's the only time this season that they play that all 16 teams play, but I think they're gonna look into doing it again on one of the other nights where they got 14 or 15 teams playing, which seems to be a lot more often than you would maybe like, because it seems like they keep going to 1 or 2 games a night and then 14 and then 0, and
Yeah.
we've already talked about how frustrating the scheduling is, but it is annoying. So there's no teams playing tonight, but I think part of it is because of Thanksgiving, and I also did see there were only 3 of the NHL arenas that were even available for games tonight, just based on being used for other sports, and 2 of
Yeah.
them were Canadian. And I know there's like something with with Thanksgiving, like having the teams be in the U.S. Like there's some border issue, so I don't know. But either way,
Oh.
frustrating.
Who? What network did the Frozen Frenzy?
So they had it at the beginning. It was on ESPN Plus for like an hour or so, and then they put it on ESPN 2 for the rest of the night. So it wasn't able to be streamed for most of the time, which probably hurt them. Although we did look into the numbers after the fact, and I guess their best viewership was when it was on ESPN 2, which is around like 8 or 9 o'clock, when most of the early games were wrapping
Yeah.
up. So yeah, it was hosted by Kevin Weeks and John Buccigross, and I thought they did a pretty good job. I tuned in for most of it, and then the Vegas game started at like 11, and that's about when I couldn't take it any longer, and I fell asleep. But yeah, I'm looking forward to them trying it again, and I think Dean is in a similar boat.
Yeah, like I said before, it's like I'm gonna watch the Bruins over it, but like if I'm just gonna turn on a random hockey game, I'd rather turn on this like the Frozen Frenzy and have it jump around rather than just one game where I still have to deal with commercials and like intermission and all that.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever watched Red Zone before?
I
Yeah, I
have.
love Red Zone.
It's this I'm sure this is the exact same, but you sit down on your couch and 8 hours, 10 hours have
Vegetate.
passed. Yep. And you forgot to go to the bathroom, you forgot to eat food.
Yeah, you're like, oh,
Like I
crap.
still have the same beer can right next to me. But yeah, it's just nonstop action. It's so much consumption of media, but it is exciting. It is so fun to have that just constant action. No commercials. Every play is a big play. It felt like
Mm-hmm.
so. I wish they had advertised a little better. I really would have liked to have seen this.
Yeah, they had like a week sort of advertising in the beginning, and then like as it got closer, they like ramped it up a little bit more, but it definitely wasn't advertised as well as it probably could have been. But they did do a decent enough job, I thought, and hopefully if they do it again, there'll be a little bit more notice, and maybe they'll make it a bit easier for the average fan to watch. Like if most of it can be on ESPN Plus, I think that would be huge.
Yeah.
Because it's tough. It's tough when you're on ESPN two, if you don't have basic cable, which I think a lot of people these days don't. They just stick with the streaming services, and that's kind of it. So hopefully it's easier to watch if they do it again. They did advertise showing all of the hits big hits in the first go around, and they didn't really follow through on that promise. But I think that might be a big draw. Like if they've got a power play going on in one, and then they cut over to another screen where they got a big hit or something, and then things start get chippy. They got
Some
a fight
fights
going
going on.
Then you see
I
a
want them to
goal.
cut the fight. I know they never would do that.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't cut to a fight, unfortunately.
I think
But
I
it would
mentioned
be
this
fun.
how like the NHL highlights they post on YouTube of like just the highlights of a game. They never show the fights or like the scrappy after whistle stuff.
Yeah.
That's hockey, man. That's a good.
Mhm.
That's like one of the best parts.
It's a big part of it still, like whether they want to acknowledge it or not. Like a lot of casual non-hockey fans, like when they think hockey, they do think the fight still, and that's a door to get people to watch, especially like I think Frozen Frenzy would be a big draw for people who don't normally tune in to watch. So if you do throw up fights or big hits, like that's gonna get people interested in the league. There's no doubt about it.
It sets it apart from like every other possible sport that's put this thing into this net or this goal. It's just I can't even imagine if I'd never seen hockey before and I tune in and just seeing guys getting pummeled left and right, slap shots, fights, fists flying. Oh man, I'd be a fan for life. I think that's a really good sell.
Yeah.
I'm getting butterflies just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I freaking love hockey. Such a good time to be a fan.
Yeah, hockey's in a I think pretty good spot right now.
A lot of
Very-
competitive teams.
Yeah, you really don't. I mean, you got your top guys. I mean, like Boston's been doing really good. Last season obviously, and this season's hot start. But yeah, it always feels like could be anyone's almost, except for San Jose. But and yeah, it's always really exciting to watch. I mean, do you guys like how is it scoring more goals now than when you guys watched when you guys were younger? Do you know?
Yeah, well,
'Cause
there's
the
also
last
like
year-
the dead puck era, as they call it, like when the Devils won their cups, and
The
then there
2000.
was also when everyone played the trap, and there was a time for a few years where there were hardly any goals. But I mean, it kind of just comes in waves, like in the '90s or whatever, when like Gretzky's records where goalies just stood up the whole time and had a save percentage of whatever 850 or whatever was good. So the goal scoring is higher than it was in the early 2000s, but it's never. I don't see it ever being as high as it was way back, unless they like make the nets bigger or some big change like that.
Yeah.
I think the scoring is in a pretty good spot, I would say, right now. Like there's still intrigue for like goalies to have good games, but there could still be, like 5-4 overtime games, big back and forth action without it being like each goal is kind of like not at the same level of value. Like it's not oversaturated at this point, I would say. So I think scoring is in a good spot, and I don't know if they're gonna continue to tweak it that much. I know we talked about potentially changing the 3-on-3 overtime rules to maybe encourage a little bit more offensive zone time, but it's kind of a more of a niche case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. I as a fan, I really enjoy the amount of goals that get scored. It makes it very intense for me, especially when you're at the game. It's
Oh, yeah.
you don't wanna look away. You're gonna miss a goal.
I think it's a good balance where it's not like a ton of goals are going in where each one doesn't have value, but
Yeah.
it's not so little like soccer where it's 1-0 games every night.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
0-0. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there is nothing like seeing live goals though, especially if you're rooting for the home team and they score a big goal, score a power play goal. It's just I'm just gushing over here. I have missed at least I think I missed at least one goal before at a live game because Owen and I went to Arizona, and as we were like walking in to get to our seat, we showed up late, and I'm pretty sure Arizona had already scored while we were like getting ready to go to our seats. We're like, oh my gosh, that was freaking quick. Oh well, they didn't. Well, the Coyotes ended up winning that game too. They were playing Vegas, so I
Yeah, Vegas
I
sucks.
was
I've
not
seen them live
happy.
twice, and or 3 times. And they've lost all three. So
That's true. Yeah, you have not seen Vegas win because he also went with me to see the Bruins play against Vegas in Boston, and Boston won that one. So
Well, that's your curse.
Dean's my bad luck charm.
Yeah.
Bryn is my good luck charm.
I gotta stop. I gotta stop asking him to come to games with me.
He brought me to the Bruins game for free.
Whoa.
That was a
How'd you
mistake.
do that, man?
I guess
Brandon's
I was
loaded.
just trying to be nice. That was right before the COVID pause too. That was January of 2020, and then
Oh, right before.
little did we know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was coming. That seems like a different time. Man, it totally just feels like that was like past life now.
know.
It's only
I
been
know.
It is
few
pretty
years.
crazy.
It's feeling pretty normal again, though.
Yeah, it's pretty normal.
Yeah, I'd say so. I am trying to get to all of the NHL arenas at some point. So
Wow, a little bucket list.
I'm not there
Alright.
yet, but
Uh,
I'm
How many
getting
you
there.
got?
I think I'm at like 12. I have a list here.
Arizona and the Rock.
Yep. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 12. So pretty much all of the ones in the surrounding area of New York I've already hit,
Yeah.
with the closest ones being Toronto and DC are the closest ones to me that I haven't gotten to yet, and I've talked about. I think I might be doing a a Raleigh DC trip, which it's funny because I actually said in another episode of the podcast that I wasn't thinking I would bundle those two, but I think that's what's going to happen now. So
Hey.
I'm looking forward to crossing those two off, seeing Ovi. Hopefully, he actually plays. You never know.
He's gonna return.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll get him for his record-breaking goal.
Oh my God,
Maybe
things
he'll-
would really have to.
He'll speed up this year.
Things would
and-
really have to change fast.
Yeah.
Even just to see him score a goal, though, like en route to getting there, would be really special. So, yeah, we'll see.
What has been your most favorite and least favorite stadium that you've seen, or maybe disappointed? What city were you maybe disappointed in?
So I'll first say, just get it out of the way, that I've been to Vegas and I absolutely loved the arena. It's the best. It's the best atmosphere that I've had so far. Even though they lost that game,
Yeah.
I just had so much fun. Their in-arena sound system is like otherworldly. They put on such a great show. They have like really good music choices. So I loved it there. Even as they're my home team, I still think a lot of people do consider
pretty
them
good.
to have one of the best arenas. And then probably the most underwhelming so far would be the Coyotes, actually, which this was Gila River, so it was before they were in the mullet. But yeah, that arena was not good. They still had CRTs hanging up for their like TVs for the monitor or for just watching the games. And I was just not impressed with what they had to offer. Although like the surrounding area was kind of nice. It was kind of like a little bit of an entertainment district, sort of. It wasn't like exactly like what they were envisioning for Tempe, but it was kind of a nicer area. But yeah, the arena itself, I was pretty underwhelmed with.
Yeah.
And I would say the one that surprised me the most, and I've talked about this also, Columbus Nationwide Arena. I really enjoyed. I thought they had a great arena. They had really good, not vestibules, I guess mezzanine. Like the concourse. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
The concourse was nice and wide. They had really good food options. And the cannon was cool. It was really cool to see the cannon. And they actually, they scored a goal too, which I was like, if we go and and Columbus doesn't score any goals, I'm gonna be pretty upset. So glad to see that. I was not expecting a whole lot with them, but they put on a great show, even though they lost too.
Note to self: don't bring him to the Devils with me.
Yeah.
Don't lose.
I wear a Devil's jersey.
Yeah, it depends
Yeah,
on who I'm rooting for.
Oh, okay.
As long as you're rooting for the team that I'm not rooting for, you should have a good time.
Really good. Okay.
For Bruins
All
playoff
right, you're
games,
coming to every game.
I've like called Brendan and be like, put on this other team's jersey to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go curse this team for me.
Go-Gers.
I've gotta feel it though. I feel like if
Yeah.
I'm only
Your
doing
heart's
it
gotta
to,
be in it.
if I'm only doing it to trick the hockey gods, I think they're on to me.
Yeah.
I can't use my powers for good.
You have to trade your suffering for the loss. You gotta be really invested.
It's a good thing I didn't go to any of the Vegas playoff games last year. That could have turned out a lot worse.
Real bad. Yeah.
Oh, that would be hard to stomach if I did go to a playoff loss for Vegas.
A playoff win would be so good.
It would be.
Yeah.
It would be really, really tantalizing.
If they make the playoffs this year, do you think you'll try to go to a game?
Would you rather pay for flights to go to a cheaper first round game in Vegas or drive to a expensive Stanley Cup final on the East Coast?
Yeah.
What do you think like a nosebleed Stanley Cup
3,000.
final ticket is like 3,000? Whew.
But flights to Vegas in the first round in a hotel,
Yeah, it's
probably
probably
around
not
the
at
same
that
price.
same level, but
Nose
yeah.
nosebleeds 3,000. Holy cow!
Well, it depends on the. I mean, in Boston.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess it
Wow.
depends if you're playing like Columbus in the finals.
Okay, yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It probably depends. I don't know. Maybe not 3,000. Maybe that's for like Game 7.
Yeah, maybe if it's like well, it would have to be whichever, home game it was for the East Coast team. So hopefully Vegas would be the one seed. So it's like
Okay, Game 1 would be like $1,000
1,000.
is average.
I
It'll be a once in a life.
it would be
Fine.
kind of tough to turn that down. I think if I had to choose, I guess
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
mean I have the financial stability to make that purchase, but oh gosh, it would be pretty cool. Tell a story to tell. Although if they lost that game again,
That's still a
the
story.
balance. I wouldn't want to feel responsible for the rest of the fan base.
Yeah, would you live with the guilt for the rest of your life that you cursed them for your own pleasure?
Yeah.
Would you ever go to a potential elimination game of Vegas?
Oh gosh, that sounds
Yeah.
expensive.
What if it's Game 4?
Hmm. I, they're
Like,
not
what's to
the
lose at that point?
like they're not the ones on the brink you're talking about, right?
Oh yeah, they're gonna get eliminated.
Oh. So if they,
You
If they
bought
get-
the
they could
tickets
get
ahead of
swept.
time.
I could go to that one. I think.
They're down 0-3. It's like if they lose, like is it really my fault? Like they were gonna get swept anyway.
Yeah, I think I would. I think I would try that. Sure. That happened in the Dallas series last year. The tickets were
Yeah.
like there were like legitimately $30 tickets for
Right.
Game 4 in
What?
Dallas. After they went down
Wow.
3-0, and that was the first game that they won in that series. So, that would be a great opportunity. I don't think they'd ever get that cheap for if Vegas was involved. But hey, I would at least consider it. Have you been following along with any of the PWHL stuff?
No.
The new women's league.
I have not. How's that been going?
They haven't played any games yet. They're going to be starting in January, but yeah, it's a whole new league. It's like a merger of like the two previous leagues, I guess. And yeah, there's six new teams, and they had a whole like draft, and they're just getting into the training camps now, and so it's kind of interesting to see. There's
The birth of a new league.
there's a decent amount of former Clarkson players that have already been drafted, which is
Really?
interesting. Yeah.
Who's got the most Clarkson players?
Let me.
I'm gonna make them my team.
Yeah, let me see. I know like Lauren Gable is on the team, and I think Elizabeth Giger maybe too. Let me see if they have the rosters. Yeah. Oh, so so Gable's is on Boston.
Ah, crap.
Yeah, it might be tough for you to root for there.
I know. Oh, Ella Shelton.
Yep. Yep.
She's on New York, I think this is.
Oh, okay.
I knew another person that got drafted on Boston. That was a
Clarkson University, back-to-back titles.
alum.
This is when we were there. Hell yeah.
She's got or that team I think has some of the better jerseys too that they've revealed. Oh, so yeah, GJ is also on New York.
BJ's on New York.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ella Shelton, round 1, 4th overall. Oh, this is sick.
That's pretty good. All right, Dean, why don't you bring us home with your NFT talk?
All right. Well, for those who don't know, actually this started last year, where with the NHL releasing these digital collectibles. They did it as a beta about a year ago, and now it's out of beta. And I guess I have a more favorable opinion as far as NFTs go than most people. Actually, my favorite band, Avenged Sevenfold, has an NFT, but the way they do it is it's like a fan club. So I paid like $250 for this, and from that I got 2 free tickets to one of their shows, like any of their shows. And it's like tickets that they give to like friends and family, so it's like the best seats in the house. I've gotten a party with the band. You get to skip the line when you go to the show, like all this stuff. They like track what merch you buy and like your Spotify listens, so you get first access at tickets, and they can tell if you're like to prevent scalpers, because basically they can tell you're a fan because you listen to their music, you buy their merch, things like that. So like they're doing this all through the blockchain and verifying it. So basically, it's not like, I mean, and just like anything, there's scammers out there and like bad actors, and it's no different with NFTs where there's collections where they'll like make all these promises and people will pay money, and then these people like disappear off the face of the earth with your money.
Yeah.
But and Avenge at least is like using the technology to allow these interactions that never would have happened before. Now, with that said, is that what the NHL is doing? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's what I was
But
thinking.
so basically, I was messaging Brendan today because I got an email to get 2 free collectibles. And what they are is they're like highlights. So I got one of um, Pavel Buchnevich like scoring a goal, and another one of, I forget who it was, but basically the one neat thing is like so it's a video of the goal, and there's no announcers, like game, just the like live like in the arena audio. So I guess that's kind of cool. But my theory was they only did away team goals because they didn't want to have like the goal horn on this thing. But Brennan didn't want to make an account to validate my prediction. But the one thing that I'm interested in with this is they mention gamification, which says that they're introducing challenges for completing sets within categories like highlights and collectibles, team sets, and NHL player sets, with opportunities to earn rewards such as real-life NHL experiences and exclusive packs. So it's kind of like if you've played NHL Ultimate Team, where you can like build sets and
Yes.
get stuff. But the other thing, going back to Avenge and their NFTs, they had this separate NFT for those 2 free tickets, where basically you could just buy this NFT, which would be the 2 tickets.
Yeah.
And people, it's kind of complicated to like get into this space, and like you have to have like a wallet and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But essentially, you could get this NFT for like $90, and those 2 tickets were collectively worth like $200. So what I want to find out, the NHL will also add a like trading platform to this, which isn't out yet. But I want to see if it can be cheaper to build a set of these digital collectibles to get tickets to a game rather than buying the tickets. Because again, everyone is like, ew, NFTs, and aren't gonna go get into this at all. So that's the one thing I'm gonna keep my eye out for, is if I can get the real world rewards through this by putting in a little effort
Yeah.
for cheaper than just like outright buying it. That's the only thing that like I really care about. Otherwise, like collecting highlights of fourth liners scoring goals doesn't really interest me. But when people start selling these on like this trading marketplace, I am gonna do a little digging and see what I can come up with as far as rewards go. That's all I had. I don't know if you had anything on it, but that's my soapbox on NFTs.
It's certainly an intriguing thought, and I could see, yeah, if you don't really care like how long it takes to build a certain grouping or whatever they're gonna call it, in order to get an actual, get tickets to a game. I could see it being, potentially viable to do something like that if you know how to work the trade market. So it does open some doors for some people who are tech savvy and know what to look for. So
It
I
also
guess
it is
be
like
interested.
you buy packs, so it is like the gamblers out there will enjoy it. Of like, I mean, again, going back to NHL Ultimate Team, people put so much money into opening packs just for the thrill of like maybe I'll
Yeah.
pull a McDavid or whatever. Like,
Yep.
just even if you're not into like you don't care anything about the highlights, it's like if I can pull a rare one that's worth money, I'll pay $20 to open this pack, and maybe I could sell it for $200 or whatever. So it's like people that are into gambling are probably gonna spend money on this. So
Yeah, even real sports cards too. Yeah,
yeah,
the same exact thing, you know. I think it'd be cool too if I just had to stop the NHL did right. So you have your the trading aspect of it, but I think it'd be cool if they rewarded you for like you completed like this collection. Here's like a jersey or a ticket or whatever. Like you completed the Boston Bruins collection.
yeah. If you have all the
Here's like
highlights from that team,
because obviously they made probably a crap ton of money off of you for
right?
completing that. But it'd be kind of cool to say, you know, hey, I completed all of this and I got this really sick or like the Devils one. I completed the Devils one. I got Brendan's sick NHL Devils alternative jersey like signed by the current captain of the team or
Yeah.
something.
And like I said, can I build that with the collectibles for cheaper than it is to sell that? Like, could I make money by wearing this jersey and selling it or whatever?
Exactly.
Or
Yeah.
even if you want to keep it, is it worth more than I paid for it?
Yeah.
Like, so that's what I'm interested in, just the rewards. I want to see how that works, and
Yeah.
what the rewards are, and how much it would actually cost me with digital collectibles to get those. So
I think that in of itself is like all NFTs in general is like, and I think what's been disappointing with it is that it was a lot of money or any money for literally nothing. It's like no one wants anything to do with NFTs. I feel like now.
yeah, and they're like so late to the party. Like the NBA did something back in like 2020 when it was NFTs were like blowing up,
Crazy.
and now
Yeah.
NHL is like, yeah, I'll hop in now that like no one talks about them anymore.
Which is kind of how the
Very
league
NHL of them.
is pretty much for everything. It's like always a step behind for the most part. They have had a couple of opportunities where they've been innovative. Well, I guess I know they're not pioneering the Frozen Frenzy, concept, but it's good to at least see that they're trying. And they've had a couple other scenarios where they've gone ahead and done something that hasn't been done in other leagues. So, in general, though, they're
They also made
usually
the like Hockey
lagging.
Diversity Alliance was pretty like I don't know forward, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was that was like during COVID or
Yeah,
around that
2020.
time.
I know at least it might seem normal for you guys, but for me, being a little bit newer fan, the whole just 3-on-3 and 4-on-4 concept when you go into overtime is always incredible. It's always really cool. I always thought it'd be cool if the NBA did something like that, where if the game's tied, it's just 3v3 for like 2 minutes. And they just change the game so much.
Yeah,
It'd be so different.
it's certainly a different
It's just
type
cool
of
with
game.
hockey. Yeah.
Well,
that-
and it's funny because people are talking now like, well, I'd also prefer because like the NBA does overtime until someone wins.
Yes. Yep.
But I mean, we mentioned earlier too about like potentially changing how the overtime works, and I've always said that I'm for like doing 3-on-3 for 10 minutes, and if no one scores, then just call it a tie. And I forget what league. It's not the AHL, but one of the like junior leagues I think did switch to 10-minute 3-on-3, and it went from like 60 something percent of games going to shootout down to like 16%.
Wow.
And I mean the 3-on-3 for the NHL, it was originally in the like ECHL, I think, and they adopted it. Like the AHL and the ECHL
Yeah.
started with the 3-on-3, and like even there's other rules that the NHL has taken. Like they try it at the lower levels first and then implement it. Like I think hybrid icing was another one that the NHL adopted later after seeing it in the AHL, like how it played out.
I'm with you. I think that'd be cool. Just doing straight up 10 minutes.
I hate the shootout, just like a coin
Yep.
flip.
It never feels good to lose in the shootout, and winning in the shootout can be kind of interesting. Like, if you get like a really big save or a really nice goal. But yeah, the dichotomy is frustrating for sure, especially if it seems like your team generally doesn't perform well in the shootout, or maybe you have a goalie that's not always the best in
Right.
shootout situations. So yeah, it's just not the same sport. It's still on the ice, but the skills are not nearly the same, and there's different strategies. Like we've talked about the Kuznetsov strategy, and it's just a different sort of game.
The other idea I heard that I kind of liked is you do the 10-minute 3-on-3 overtime and you have the shootout as a tiebreaker, but you do the shootout before the game. So every game starts with a shootout,
Oh,
and you only have, it doesn't even matter if it's televised. You could have the shootout just for the people in attendance, and then like the broadcast comes in and does the anthem, and the announcer like, "Yep, and the Bruins won the shootout for tonight." So like if it goes to overtime, the other team's gonna have to like really try to like take their chances because otherwise
Whoa.
the Bruins get the tiebreaker.
And that would give you an incentive as a fan to kind of to go to the game. Oh, I want to see my favorite players
Yeah,
do
why
some
not start with the
deets.
shootout?
Yeah.
Like you have warm ups and then you just right into a shootout and then you do the anthem and start the
that's
game.
that's
That's
intriguing.
Yeah, I'd love
interesting
it.
And,
quiz. Yeah.
and I think it would get you, like, you could see some coaches maybe experiment a little bit more with which players they actually
'Cause it
use.
probably doesn't matter.
Right,
It
like,
might.
Yeah.
like
But
yeah, it would be good to maybe test some young prospects. Like, okay, let's see like how this kid's hands are. We saw what he could do in the juniors, and maybe we want to see not in a situation where it's actually the game on the line usually, but
I feel
just
like players don't even take the shootout seriously as it is
right,
now.
right.
So why not just do it before the game?
That I think I would be for that, and yeah, I agree with Chandler. It would give you another reason to actually go to games, which is still something that the league needs to work on. I think attendance has been pretty good this year, although there have been a couple teams that have been not performing well. Winnipeg has been struggling, and I think there were a couple other teams that have not been getting the numbers that they'd like, but um, that would just be one more reason to go. You kind of already have to be
I like
into
it.
hockey though, I guess. So it's not really getting anybody outside of the hockey world to go probably, but just another tipping point, I guess.
Or it's a fight. You just rip off a fight right off, 1v1.
Not the tiebreaker. You can
Yeah,
get the two
yeah.
best fighters to start the game.
Yeah.
That would change the dynamic of
Or
roster
the
building
or
completely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go back to
or
the old days where you have someone who's not even like doesn't know how to skate and is just good at fighting.
He doesn't even play in the game, in the
You
regular
wouldn't even
game.
know. I don't think you'd care that much for a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
just see these massive players that are just so good at the fights get these ridiculous contracts, but they have like 0 points for the season. Secure.
How many tiebreakers have they secured?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Add it to the stat line.
Exactly.
That would
Give the
be
people what
different.
they want.
What do you think? I feel like we can try to wrap up with the face off game I was talking about earlier.
I was gonna say before you get into the game, do you want to do pass the cup since you forgot it last week? So I put it on the agenda this week.
Yeah. So just to provide an update, and for Chandler, we have a sort of a pool. It's called Pass the Cup, and basically starts with the team that won the cup last year, which was Vegas. So Vegas started the season with the Stanley Cup, and then every game that they've won, they've earned a cup point. So we've had five players draft teams in a snake draft to sort of try to build a roster which will earn them the most cup points, and also trying to get the team that eventually wins the cup on their roster. So our friend Gifford has been destroying everybody else. He's got the cup again. He's got 12 points. Dean's in second place with 3. Owen's got 2.
Should have 7.
7?
I should because I should. I was
Oh,
gonna
because
get
you should have
Pittsburgh.
picked up Pittsburgh. Yeah.
I already put my name in the waiver wire to claim them, and then I took it off because I wouldn't have like I had a hockey game that night, so by the time that ended, it would have been past midnight Eastern time, which is our cutoff for the claims. So I didn't want to claim them if they didn't win. So I was gonna wait, and then I took my name off, and as soon as I did, Gifford put his tough.
Which he got those 4 points.
Yeah.
I'm at 1, and Zane is the only one without any points at 0. So it hasn't been very competitive so far.
And he has Boston.
I know, like his team, like on paper, like Toronto, Boston, and Los Angeles are all like performing really well. They just haven't had
All
opportunities to win the cup or get the
I'm
cup.
all about winning the skilled games.
Dean does have New Jersey on his.
Let's
team.
go. Dean's gonna win it.
They've gotten them 1 point so
They were
far.
my first pick.
Oh God.
A little underwhelming so far, but they haven't. Again, it's been tough to get a lot of chances. Like, Vegas went on a 7-game win streak to start the year, so he was just banking all those points early, and it's tough to come back from that. And then for hat tricks, Dean is leading the way. He's got 12. Gifford and I are tied at 10, which I've had a bit of a resurgence lately. And then Owen at 8, and Sam and Zane tied with 5.
Who's driving your resurgence?
So the hat tricks are we have, I don't know if you were familiar with it. It was like 5 years ago or so. The NHL had this Enterprise Hat Trick Challenge, which basically they created three yes or no or 2 choice answer questions each day that there were games, and you would pick the choices, and then if you got all 3 right, you earned a hat trick. So they had a whole league going, and like you could play with your friends and stuff.
Yeah.
So they discontinued that, but we've sort of taken it on ourselves to keep it going by creating our own questions every day. So that's basically what we do. We have a group chat dedicated to posting the questions and submitting answers, and then we track who gets the most right. So Dean has historically been the best out of the bunch. He's won
Repeat, mate.
He's won 2
Wow.
years in a row,
Whoa.
and he's looking good again this year. He's still leading the pack. So it's pretty fun, and it gets you a little bit more engaged in the regular season. Just trying to have another reason to watch some games. Maybe if you've got hat trick implications, like if you've already gotten 2 of the questions right and you just need one team to win, so maybe you tune in and hopefully they win for you, or you're disappointed, which seems to happen for me more often than not. But actually, this year I'm not doing too badly. So, who knows? Maybe I'll finally win one.
They're hanging in there.
Much more competitive than Pass the Cup has been.
I don't know, it's still early. I feel like at this point it's normally close-ish. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see in another couple months.
Yeah. So there's our standings update on that.
And go ahead. Do you have categories for your game, or
Yeah,
are you
so
winging it?
it should be pretty quick. I was basically just gonna do. We have to name roster players for our respective teams, but obviously, my team wouldn't be Vegas. I would be naming Devils players. I would say Dean would name Vegas players, because I don't think he has much of an advantage because he doesn't really follow the other teams that closely. And then that
I'm already trying to think of
and then
Vegas
that would-
players.
that
Vegas
would-
would be harder than the Devils. For
that
me,
would be
probably.
Boston for Chandler. Then I
Yeah,
wouldn't
so you can't
pick
do Boston.
I wouldn't pick Boston for me because I'm pretty familiar with, since they're my second team. So, but if that sounds like something you're interested in, we can kind of do a rapid fire go around and
I'll try my best.
For a little-
Oh no.
for a little
Yeah,
fishy.
I don't have a lot. I
I don't know how many Devils players I actually know for sure, but I think I can hold my own hopefully. So yeah, if you're ready, we can go, and then if somebody questions one, maybe we'll have to check
Oh,
it
I
at
was
the end.
thinking. I was thinking one person just goes and rapid fires, and then the next person goes.
Oh, okay. So you want just get as many you can, and then hope you beat the next
Set the
person.
limit.
Chandler's the guest. He can decide. Do you want to go one at a time, or do you want like one player per person at a time, or do you want to do one person does as many as they can, then we move on?
I can try to do as many as I can, and then
You want to start
I
then?
can start. I'll set the bench.
Okay.
Okay.
See how you. So there's Pasternak, Marchand, Zaka. We were talking about
Devils.
Lucic earlier. Uh,
Yep. Luch.
uh,
You're pretty much at about the number I'm gonna get for Vegas. So
Oh, okay. I think I feel
and
pretty good then.
then,
I mean, I know Brent's gonna win this. I just don't want to get last.
who's their goalie? Linus.
Need a last name.
Um,
You can do last
Oh.
name only, but no, I'm not allowing first name only.
I think that's fair.
I don't remember his last name. That's all I got. I think what did I get? 4?
It's four and a half.
Yeah.
4.5. Linus Olmark.
Oh, Allmark. Oh, and I couldn't even think of freaking Swayman. I don't know why.
Not too late. I'm counting you at 4.
Yep, I agree. All
not
right,
bad,
let's see if you guys got it.
All right, I'll go. Eichel, Stone, Petrangelo, Carlson, Logan Thompson.
Nice.
That's 5. I already know Brent's gonna get like at least 10. Marchessault, is he still there?
Yeah.
Cool. James Neal. No, I'm just kidding.
Not even in the league anymore.
I think I should know another. We talked about goalies like with Gifford.
Oh yeah.
But I think Thompson was like the only one that I kind of knew anyway, because all the other like obviously Fleury's gone and what's his face that's IR. But anyway,
Leonard.
Leonard. I'm gonna give myself like 10 more seconds to just ponder, you know.
We'll give you a little more time.
Yeah. Well, I passed Chandler. I'm happy with that.
6. That's
Oh,
6 is
man.
pretty good.
All right, let's see. I won't get last.
Okay. Well, let's start with we'll start with Hughes. The two of them, Luke and Jack. So that's a double whammy right
What
there.
a layup!
2 for
What
1.
a layup!
Nico Heischer.
Yeah.
We'll get the freebies with Vanacek and Akira Schmid. So that's goalies. We got Dougie Hamilton. I believe Siegenthaler is still there.
I want to check on that because you're not sure.
That's
and
fine.
if you're wrong, then we tie.
Maybe I should have waited on that one then, because I know other ones for sure that are there.
That was the issue, like when Owen and I, or me and Owen played the game. Yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay, good. Curtis Lazar.
I should have the roster up then if you.
Nosek. Let me see. There's a couple other younger guys. Oh, Timo. Meyer.
Timo, baby.
I can't believe I didn't even say
Timo
him yet.
time. That's all right.
There's a lot of star players there now.
Ollie.
I feel like there's a couple other D men that I'm glossing over. He's not there anymore.
There's one you should get.
Yeah, I feel like I am missing a couple other.
So it's
other
not that he's a
ones.
big name. It's just you should know him. I'm just giving you hints because you already won.
Yeah. is Holtz still there?
Yep.
Okay, good. Alexander Holtz. Who I'm trying to think who else they picked up over the off season. Howla?
Mm-hmm.
Holla, holla, heat 'em, boys.
He's making noise.
Yeah, I love 'em.
Former Golden Knight. Isn't
So is Lucic, by the way.
Yep. Isn't I know. Colin Miller's not there, is he?
He is. I was gonna
Okay.
say there's one more. That's the other defender. I was like, you should know.
Yeah. Okay.
Miller.
Oh, we're getting into the weeds now a little bit. Bastion? Nathan Bastion, is he still there?
Mm,
Yep.
I don't feel great
Really?
about that one.
Yeah, he's still on the squad.
I don't even see him.
Maybe he's
I thought he was anyways.
Oh no, there he is. Yeah.
maybe he's
He
not
was all
playing
the
on
way.
the big club.
He was at the top. I scrolled by him.
Hmm.
From Kitchener, Ontario.
I don't. How many am I at? Like 13?
More than 6.
That's good.
We'll count. You can count it in post.
Yeah, I had it at some point. I was at least at 10, and then I lost count.
You're practically a Devils fan.
I guess so. I have
Let's
seen him.
go.
I have seen him live a couple times. Although, I just had somebody on the tip of my tongue, but I lost it. I think I'm just gonna call it there. I don't want to guess somebody incorrect. So
It was
I'll just-
Andre Palat.
Oh, Palat, yeah.
Someone shares the same first name as you.
Smith.
Yeah.
Brendan Smith. Yeah, he's kind of garbage. So
Oh man.
Yeah, but all the other ones, I'm like, yeah,
He's-
John
he-
Marino.
he's older.
like
Oh, I should have known Marino. We literally talked about him in the episode. Too.
Marino.
Evan
yeah.
Mall, Max Whittleman, Tyler Toffoli.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
I didn't hear you say Toffoli.
That is
that's
a big one. That is a big one.
Yeah.
I didn't get. But he's only. I mean, this is his first year.
First year. Yep.
Good job, Brendan. You won at your own game.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have even bothered.
I suck at rosters.
It's tough when, especially since they haven't played the Bruins yet this year.
Yeah, exactly. That's when I do all my studying.
Or, well, I guess you were doing. Yeah, you were doing Vegas. We haven't played yet.
Yeah. But even that, it's like I get like 1 or 2 more maybe. Oh yeah, he's there now. He doesn't really. I don't know. Those players don't really stick in my mind. Like rosters, I don't know. But
I just usually like think about like recent like acquisitions and stuff, and that sort of gets me going. And then like
yeah,
long tenured players and things. But yeah, it's not always easy, especially if it's a non playoff team. Like yeah, you're probably not as familiar with the guys on the young
What?
teams. But I think we'll wrap it up there. We probably overstayed our welcome a little bit, but we appreciate.
longest one to date.
Yeah, we appreciate those who,
That was a fun one, man.
stuck it out, and we also appreciate Chandler for coming by and
Yeah. Thanks
lending
for
us his
joining.
time.
Yeah, thanks so much for inviting me. It was great catching up with you guys and talking hockey, man. I love talking about it. So
Yeah, you're welcome back anytime.
hey,
Absolutely.
well, thank-
We'll sign off for now. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those things that starts really slow, but
It's gotta go viral.
you build your craft, you go viral, boom. That's all you
Chandler's
need.
gonna say something viral on this episode, and then it'll be
Oh
our-
god.
The
Then it'll
pressure's
go to,
the
I'll
pressure's
go to
real.
jail.